All right, let's go. Class? Yes. All right, so we're going to finish up our notes today. So we have example 3. This is probably one of the more complicated of the problems that we have here because it doesn't give you a specific number. It doesn't give you a specific number. It gives you a range where your number should be and an equation of a line. So I'm going to go through and I have to find the x, y, and r given this. So I'm going to take a look at this. It says find the 6 trigonometric functions of the value angle theta in standard position if the terminal side of theta is identified by this line, which is here. See, they gave it to you here already, and you already have something. But on your problems, it's not going to give you that. It's going to just give you an equation. And what does it say about my x values?
It says it's greater to or equal than 0.
All right, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to build a table. Always do this. So we use that information, insert page after. We got to build the table. So my equation is x plus 2y equals 0. So, given this equation, this is in a standard formative equation. Standard form. It's not the normal y equals mx plus b, which you guys, it's used the most. This is standard form. It's used for other things. Now, we're going to build the table, and it says that x has to be greater than, right? Greater than, equal to 0. Serious question. Can it be equal to 0?
Yes.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is, building a table, so I'm going to start with my x's, and then my y's. So, if it can be 0, okay, let's use 0. So from there, I'm going to plug in 0 for my x. Okay, so I'm going to get 0 plus 2y equals 0. Do the math. I get 2y equals 0. Divide by 2. Y equals 0. I can't make a line from that because that is the origin, 0, 0, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That is the origin. So I'm trying to make a line from the origin out to somewhere else. So I can't have 0, 0 again. That's not going to give me a line. There is no direction there. Let's take a look at the next one. So what numbers am I going to plug in for this? Numbers that are?
Greater than 0. So
What types of numbers are greater than 0? Positive numbers, right? Positive numbers are greater than 0, so those are the ones I'm going to plug in.
1.
Let's plug in 1. Okay, let's see what we get for 1. Plug it in. So it's going to be 1 plus 2y equals 0. Subtract 1 to both sides. I get 2y equals negative 1 half. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want to use that. Because isn't that your x and your y?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
negative 1 half is complicated.
Okay, that's my x and my y. What are the 3 variables I have to have every time? X, y, and x, y, and
R.
all the time I need to find x, y, and
R.
so we're going to go through and do that. So do I want to have a 1 half and plug that into the Pythagorean theorem? No, I'm kind of lazy. I teach this stuff. I love math, but guess what? I still don't want to do it. So can I plug in another one to see if I can get a whole number for my y? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to plug in another one. Let's plug in number 2. get 2 plus 2y equals 0. I get 2y equals negative 2. Y equals negative 1. So I did the algebra a little bit quick here. So I subtracted 2 to both sides, and then I divided by 2, right? Is that one going to work? Say yes.
Yes.
It will work. Okay, because I have a negative 2 here, right? I'm sorry, positive 2 and a negative 1. Are those going to be easier to plug in the Pythagorean theorem?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot easier to plug in the Pythagorean theorem to find my x, y, and r. Now, this is going to be key to this problem right here. Can you identify why this one is easier? Why is the other one not easier?
Because it's a fraction.
I get a fraction, right? But looking at my equation, can you tell me, by looking at my equation, what number should I choose? Because sometimes you're going to have bigger numbers.
Oh, is it even numbers?
Why even numbers on this one?
Because every time you do an odd number, you're gonna get a half.
Odd number, you're going to get a half.
Or like a
For what
fraction.
reason?
I don't even know.
Look closely at the equation, though. That's, you know, you're smart there.
It's just
But-
a rate of change. Like, it's just what it is. It's like, I don't even know.
But give me that information from the equation.
Every time x increases by 1, y increases by 1/2, something like that.
No.
No?
Try to make
Oh,
it so much easier.
decreases, yeah, it decreases. I don't even know.
Super easy. Let's say you're going to point it out to someone that has no clue what math is. Be like, hey, yo, you're going to show someone how to do this. Be like, there's one point that I want you to look at. What do you want to look at? And say, hey, choose this number. Look at the equation, not me.
2, easy.
Zero.
Why?
Just easy. It's 2 numbers.
Huh? I almost heard it. Anyone, come on, take stabs at this.
Zero.
Not 0. Why does this one work and my other one does not? Use your noodle, not play with your phone. So, you're losing brain cells on that phone.
Because X is.
X is 1. Okay, yeah. But go ahead. What about the Y? Excellent. The Y is 2, isn't it? Look at the number in front of the Y. If I'm doing the math, right, every step that I did, very good. So every step right here, I had a 2y, right? So my last answer, I had to divide by 2, right? Yes? And that, where'd that number come from? It's in front of my y, isn't it? So I end up dividing by 2 every time because that's the number in front of my y, isn't it? So I just need to make sure that my number that I'm picking, because what if this was like a 7 or 8? Would you want to make a table that big? Say no.
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 No. Think smarter. Look at the number you're dividing by and use that to help yourself find a good number or a number that's not going to be a fraction. That's what I want you guys to look at. So you guys got to think smarter on these things. I don't want you to have to build a huge table. I want you to think smarter. What numbers am I going to choose? Okay, I know that I would end up going all the way down if that number was 9, but I could just jump all the way to 9, right? There we go. And that's all I'd have to do. So, we have these values here. We need to go through and solve for r, don't we? So we have the x and the y. Now we solve for the r. R equals the square root of 2 squared plus negative 1 squared. Now my r value is not always going to be some pretty number.
It's 4 and 1,
4 and 1, well, it's going to give me a radical, isn't it?
5, and then the square root of 5 is on.
Yeah. So doing the math, 2 squared is 4. Negative 1 squared is 1. Add those together, 4 plus 1 is 5. So the square root of 5 is just the square root of 5. It's still a number. We're just going to use it like that. It's going to make life easier by doing this. So r equals square root of 5. But now there's also a rule in math. There is a rule in math that I cannot have. I'm going to move this. I cannot have a square root in the bottom of a fraction. I cannot leave a square root in the bottom. Cannot have that or imaginary numbers in the bottom. So let's go ahead and set up my sign, because I know my x equals 2, my y equals -1, and then my r was square root of 5. So let's start plugging them in.
-1 over the square root of 5.
-1, right? -1 over square root of 5, or you could refer to it as radical 5. Now, what we're going to do, this is going to happen a lot. We're going to do this a lot, okay? The word is called rationalize. Rationalize. So by rationalizing something, I'm going to multiply by the value of 1. But my 1 is going to look funky. Okay, think about this. What is 5 divided by 5?
1.
1, right? And if I multiply some number by 1,
It's that same number.
I get the same number, right? So my 1 is going to look funky here. And that's what we do when we rationalize. I'm going to multiply by the value of 1, but not the number 1. Just to rationalize it, to make sure there is no radical in the bottom of my function here. So, my, right here, my 1 square root of 5 divided by square root of 5. So, what is square root of 5 divided by square root of 5? It's just 1, isn't it? Because it's the same number on top and bottom. That is going to be 1. The value is 1. It just doesn't look like it, but the value of it is 1. So by rationalizing, I multiply the fraction straight across. So I have a -1 times radical 5 is going to give me negative radical 5. Now on the bottom, if I'm multiplying two radicals together, I multiply the numbers inside.
This is 25.
25. Now, 5 times 5 is 25. Now, what is the square root of 25?
5.
5. And that's what happens when we rationalize by the bottom of a fraction. It's going to turn into just 5.
There's
Be-
negative rad 5 over 5. Is that an answer?
That's my answer. Does that make sense, or did I say too many words?
That makes sense.
Anyone question? Are we okay? Yeah? Maybe? Alright. So that's my answer for the sine. So let's do another one. Let's do the cosine now. So cosine is going to be x over r. My x value is 2. So I have 2 over radical 5. Again, I have a radical in the bottom.
You can do the same thing, multiply by
Yep.
radical.
What is that word?
Rationalizing.
So class, that word is to.
Rationalize.
I want everyone to,
Rationalize.
because we need to.
Rationalize.
And just so you know, you don't have to try and put everything in that little slide. You got all those lines off to the side too. These are for you also. Just make sure. Yeah, go ahead. Pass right here. All right, so let's go through rationalize. Square root of 5 over square root of 5. So my answer comes out to be, so on top I have a whole number times a radical. They are not two radicals.
Is it just going to be 2 rad 5?
Very good, 2 rad 5. If they're two radicals, I multiply the insides. But since they're not two radicals,
2 rad 5.
2 rad 5. And on the bottom, rad 5 times rad 5 is going to be
5.
just 5. Very good. That's my answer. Tangent. Y over x, just go ahead, plug those in.
Then it's gonna be negative 1 over 2, right?
-1 over 2. Oh, let's do secant.
Is it just gonna be rad 5 over 2? That's it, because it's on top. Or is it
Rad 5 over 2, yes. Does that one need to be rationalized?
No, because it's on top.
It's on top, so we're good there, right? Cotangent is going to be x over y, which is
It's just gonna be negative 2, right?
over 1, right? I just try to always put the negative where it's supposed to go here. Even though that it's technically out front, the whole fraction is negative. As I plug in, I just put the negative where it goes. And cosecant.
Rad 5 over negative 1.
There we go. You guys feel pretty confident about that now? Okay, so I'm hoping everyone's feeling pretty good about it. All right, these ones should be easy. 90 degree. We know 90 degree is going straight up and down, right? So I can pick any of the values because they are going to always be the same. And you'll see why here in a minute. So we're picking the point here. But how about this? I am not going to pick this point. I'm going to pick this point just to prove my point. 0, 2, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. We have the x, we have the y. What am I missing? R. X, y, and
R.
because I need to find the r. So let's go ahead and do the Pythagorean theorem. R equals the square root of 0 squared plus 2 squared, right? What is 0 squared? 0. 0 squared is 0. 2 squared is?
A 4.
Yep, very good. So equals
4.
square root of 4, which is just
Or R, yeah, R equals 2.
r equals 2. So now, does that seem correct? So
Yeah.
from the origin up to here is 2. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Everyone okay so far? All right, so I'm going to keep going here. So we have x, we have y, we have r. So x equals 0, y is 2, r is 2. Sine is y over r. What's my y?
0 or 2.
Very good. So it's 2 over r, which is?
2.
Which gives me?
1.
Very good. Is that easy? Okay. Right here, 2 divided by 2 is 1. I could have had the same thing if I did from this other point. It would be the exact same answers. Cosine. Cosine is x over r. My x is
0 or 2.
over 2. What is 0 divided by 2?
You can't do that.
How about this? You and Denny have 0 pizzas between you right now.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Can you divide that evenly amongst you?
No.
Yes, you can.
You can.
How many pizzas do you guys have right now?
0. It's nothing.
You have nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So is nothing divided equally?
Yeah, because everyone gets nothing.
Everyone
Zero.
gets nothing, right?
No, it's dividing by 0 that you can't do.
Very good. So if the zero's on the bottom, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one comes out to be 0. Tangent. What was tangent? Y over x. What was my y?
2.
Over x is. Now, can we divide by 0? Say no.
No.
Cannot divide by 0. So what are you writing on your notes right now? Cannot divide by 0. Do not divide by 0. So if I divide by 0, my answer is, anyone recall that special word?
Irrational, something like that. Oh, undefined.
Undefined. I don't know who said it, but good job. There you go. Undefined. So if there's 0 on the bottom, it's undefined. So cosecant. Cosecant is r over y. So what was my r value?
2.
My y value?
2.
Also 2.
So 2 divided by 2?
2. Or 1. Yeah.
1. There we go. secant is r over x.
2 over 0.
2 over 0,
Can't do that.
which is
Undefined.
and cotangent is x over y. My x is,
At 0.
my y is,
2.
my answer is,
0.
it is 0. Okay? Because you have 0 pizzas divided by 2 people, you guys both get the same amount of pizza.
It's nothing.
Nothing. Thank you, socialism. No pizza. Everyone gets nothing equally. All right, we already did all these. Okay, so right here, here's another one doing the same thing. Now, quick guess. Can you tell me what the R value is on this one? Yes, it is 3. It is 3 because my Y value is now 0, right?
That's how far it is from the origin. So.
Yep, very good. From the origin, it's just 3 units over. So, why is it not -3?
Because you can't have like a negative distance or something like that.
Good job. Okay, if you guys didn't hear, you cannot have a negative distance. R value stands for radius. The radius of a circle is what we're dealing with here. So the radius of a circle is a distance from the center to the edge. You cannot have a negative distance. No negative distance. Okay? So your R value will always be positive. R value will always be positive. So you know that R value will always be positive. And so you don't slip, fall on your head, and you forget this. So you're going to write it down in your notes that your R value is always
Positive.
Thank you. So I'm going to write out my x, y, and r. My x is -3. My y is 0. My r is +3. All right, sine. Sine's supposed to be y over r, so that's going to give me
0 over 3.
0 over 3, which is
0.
good job. Cosine is x over r. What am I filling in there?
-3 over 3 was -1.
-3 over 3, which gives me
-1.
-1. Okay? -1. So tangent. Tangent is y over x. So my y value is 0. My x value is, and my answer is going to be
0.
0. Good job. All right, so cosecant is going to be what? R over y.
Yes.
Okay, R over y. So my R value was 3. My y value is?
0.
And this answer is?
Undefined.
Undefined. Remember, no 0 on the bottom. Abbreviate for there. So secant. Secant is R over,
X.
very good, R over x. So my R is,
3 over -3 is -1.
very good, is -1. Cotangent. Cotangent is
-3 over
-3, right? Is it?
Yeah.
-3
Over
0. Oh.
0. So it's, remember, it's your x over y. X over y. Cotangent's x over y. So -3 over 0 gives me undefined. There you go, undefined. So you guys feel pretty good about this now? Terminal side, blah blah blah. Here's a bunch of functions, and calculator. Put in, make sure you're in degrees, and that's it. So you guys make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You hit that notification button and support my channel by buying something from my merch store.